Good morning. Hello, everybody. How is everybody today? Good to see you all coming in. Hello, hello. Hey, what is it? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. It's been a really good week so far. I don't know if any of you saw the live stream that I did yesterday with Ash from That's So Effed Up podcast, and also she has a new channel, and it's called something about control and coercion, where she's discussing culty things, and she also is doing a series called Harlots and Jezebels, which I'm pretty excited about because I myself was often accused of being a harlot and a Jezebel. So, yeah, let me put up her banner too. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to check her out. Subscribe to Ash's YouTube channel at Harlots Jezebels, all one word. And yesterday, she very courageously shared her story about being in AA for many years. And yeah, it was a little lively, but that's okay. I like lively, right? And she had a lot of insights, and in fact, she really did her homework as far as studying up on the origins of Alcoholics Anonymous, and she made it clear that she wasn't saying it was a bad organization. It just could have some culty overtones and some strong religious background to it. So yeah, it was really enlightening for me. I didn't know much about it. I just had my today I have a regular mug, but yesterday I had my styrofoam cup with my name on it, and I, made some confessions of the types of aholic things that I am. Like sometimes I can be an approval aholic, a yarnaholic, right behind me. Um, I like food. I like, yeah, lots of aholics. But yeah, it was good to talk about things that has touched millions of lives, either in personal experiences with having addictions, or I think we all have some type of addiction, but particularly alcohol and narcotics. And I think we've all been touched by that, just like we all know somebody who's had cancer. So I like to talk about all kinds of things. Of course, we're in SPTV land, and it's helped me so much, and I love this community. And I do talk quite a bit about Scientology, but also different coercive influences, high control groups, and um, high control groups within within not so high control groups, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I hope you'll check that out. If you didn't see yesterday's stream, I thought it was really good, and I'm super proud of Ash, for sharing that with us, and giving us, something to think about. So good to see you all coming in. Kat, hey Kat, thank you so much for your input yesterday. You really helped Ash make it easier for her to share her story. So thank you so much. Clearwater Chatto, hi sweetheart, good to see you. I miss you. Text me. I want to know all the things that's going on. Faye, hey Faye, how are you? Good to see you. Great to see you. Pup Groomer 20, hey hey. Welcome, welcome. Lene, hey Lene. So good to see you. Yay, it's Joel. Hey Joel. Hey friend. And Selma. Hi Selma. Hi beautiful Selma. Selma, complicated last name. I like that. Maya. Hey, Maya. So good to see you. Good to see you all coming in. Yeah, so here we are. It's the morning. Yeah, so take a sip of coffee, wake up a little bit. I'll try not to be too loud and obnoxious. So today, there's been something on my mind, and talking to Ash about her her new channel, um, at Harlot's Jezebels. She said that the name had she was inspired by the part of my story where I told that my 7-year-old daughter was accused of being a Jezebel and had, quote, demons, including Jezebel, cast out of her at 7 years old. 7 years old. And not that any 7-year-old could be a, quote, Jezebel, but Haley, it was just, a little girl, and she liked playing with her American Girl dolls, and she never even watched TV. I mean, she would play with Play-Doh, and just she was a good little girl. I mean, she had a feisty side to her, like her mom, but um to do that to a child just was unthinkable. And it really was the beginning of the end. But yeah, so I named this morning musings Marlene versus Jezebel, the enemy within. Cults love to have an enemy, a common enemy, and often they have a type of doctrine, dogma, whatever, where there's an enemy inside of you. And so they get you kind of fighting within yourself. They get you doubting your thoughts. They get you questioning yourself rather than the cult, right? And in Scientology, it's the body thetans. They're casting out body thetans for many, many years, from the whole Xenu story of, the origin story in OT3 up to OT8. OT7, people just spin their wheels for years upon years, auditing themselves, right? And with me, I spun my wheels for years and years trying to, cast demons out of myself, trying to get demons cast out of me. When I realized that thing in me that, Marlene called Jezebel or hidden rebellion or whatever, I think it was my authentic self. I think it was the part of me that I just never could quite let go of. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I didn't. Let me just pull up some things here. Aurora, hey Aurora. Hi Marilyn. Didn't get to catch many of your lives. Oh, don't get to catch many of your lives. I'm mostly just going to be lurking because I'm working. That's okay. Lurking and working. You know how I like a rhyme, guys. No, that's great. Lurk away. But hello. So good to see you here. Kat, it was the beginning of the beginning. Right. Yes. Um, Yeah, and I often say this, and hindsight's 2020, and I can bop myself over the head as many times as I want to, but um, it did take me 2 years to leave after that, but it really got the ball rolling. It really got me thinking, and I often say this kind of mama bear thing, right, where I could take a lot of abuse on myself, but when you start fucking with my kids, oh, I said, oh, whatever. If I get demonetized, it's worth it. Yeah, you mess with my kids, and then it's like, wait a minute, they didn't choose to be in this horrible place. They didn't choose this, and in some ways, I didn't either, but I did because I was an adult. But um, it really got me thinking, and so when you think of Jezebel, you probably often think of, a like a woman who is like got her eyes painted, and she's, in the Bible, painted eyes, right? And dressed kind of scantily and very seductive. But there was a lot more to the character of Jezebel in the Bible. And I'll just say right now, and I'm sure I'll mention it later as well, is that in our cult, Jezebel was used as a noun, like a person, a noun, a verb, an adverb, an adjective. It was like Marlene was obsessed with Jezebel. So someone could be called Jezebel, like you're such a Jezebel, right? Or that person's a Jezebel. Or it could be, she's you're Jezebeling the situation, or it was shortened to Jezzing, right? Whenever anyone had their own opinion or tried to assert their own will, if they asked questions, it's like, oh, stop trying to judge the situation. Stop trying to be, a Jezebel. And it was so that was the verb. And then it's like, oh, that woman's so Jezebel, or she's so Jezebel-y. It was just Jez all the time. So I just want to show you a couple things and then go into story and some other stuff. So I want to just make sure I'm on the right screen here. Okay. Just bear with me, guys. All right. All right. So this was my thumbnail from today. It was just so much fun to make, I'll be honest. And that's represents Jezebel in the background with the painted, mesmerizing eyes. And I named this Morning Musings, Marlene versus Jezebel. And there's Marlene in the middle, and Jezebel's kind of looking over her, looking through her. And um, I I had several pictures. One I showed on Doug's stream the other night of Marlene kind of standing over me, and she often would do that. So I just thought it'd be fun to make Jezebel kind of standing over her, or looking over her or through her. So that's that, and a couple other things I want to show you. So yeah, that's where I got the picture from. That is Marlene. And it, uh-oh, hurry. I don't know what happened. You see my Facebook. Let me go back. See TSFU podcast. Let me go back here. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of lost because I was trying to find that other picture. Let me see. I know I have it somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay. I got it now. All right. See if I can do this again. Share screen. Sorry, guys. I'm fumbling. There we go. Okay. Share. There we go. So it says, what does Jezebel mean? The Hebrew name, quote, Jezebel is usually translated to where's my prince, or exalted of Baal. The Hebrew root word Zebel was probably changed or added, however, because Zebel means dung, which insults Jezebel's character. All right. So get that out of there. And then we've got brand. So I've told you guys before that Marlene always said that I was going to end up on the dung heap, that my kids were going to end up on the dung heap, right? So here we are on the dung heap, and Jezebel's name, Zebel, part of Jezebel means dung, which is shit, like shit pile, and Jez shit, right? Jezebel. So I just wanted to put that up there because Kelly made that for me, and I just thought it was really cute and funny, as I do not mind being accused of being on the dung heap, because dung heap's fun. All right, so I Oh, hey. There she is. Her ears were ringing. Hey, sweetie. Hello from the dung heap. We like it here. Yeah, did you hear Kelly had said that Jezebel in Hebrew means Zabel, it means dung. So I thought that was super cool. I love that. Yeah. So um the passages about Jezebel mostly are in 1 Kings 19 in the Old Testament. And also and I love when people are like, well, that's the Old Testament. But wait, there's more. Revelations chapter 2 is about Jezebel, about the quote whore of Babylon. And yeah, so that's the New Testament. It's the last book in the Bible and last book in the New Testament. And it talks about that. So Jezebel was a Phoenician princess, and she married Ahab, who was the king of Israel at the time, and that in itself was an issue with Christians that talked about the story, because there's a verse in the Bible that says, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers, right? So she was a quote unbeliever because she didn't believe in the Jesuit God, the God of the Bible, right? um so she had brought her other gods with her. The main god was Baal, or Baal, which was like B-A apostrophe A-L. And that was her god. And she was, most likely a very beautiful woman. She liked to look good. She wore makeup, all that. But she was pretty evil. She was always conniving and thinking about how she could get ahead. And it was synonymous with control in a way, as far as like when Marlene would reference Jezebel, it was like, you're judging the situation, you're trying to control it, whether it had to do with being seductive or sexual, or shoopty, as she used to call me. um I wasn't, if you saw the pictures that I shared with Doug, I mean, I really wasn't shoopty. I really wasn't showy. I didn't have tons of makeup. I'd wear baggy clothes. I crocheted smocks. But she said that I had adultery and idolatry in my heart, right? So, I mean, how can you prove that? How can you prove that you don't, right? So, I want to paint a little bit of a picture of the scene of like when Jezebel was alive, the days of Jezebel and Ahab. Um, it's believed that Ahab just kind of let her quote wear the pants in the family, in the palace, in the kingdom. And Ahab was also synonymous with just a passive guy who, just whatever, and just let Jezebel run everything, right? So you had the seductive qualities, but also, and she was supposedly adulterous, so she must have had, affairs or whatever. Um, Probably not with her closest male, the men that were closest to her, because they were called eunuchs. And in the Bible, eunuchs were like monks, but they went they went one step further. And the one step further that they went was they were, can I say this on YouTube? Yeah, I'm sure. They were castrated, and they were the only ones that could be trusted with the women in the palace, because they had, Jezebel. They probably she I'm not sure if she had children, but they had concubines back then. So like mistresses that hung out in the palaces, the virgins that were waiting to be concubines, I guess. So these eunuchs were entrusted with the care of these women, because they were impotent in the worst kind of way, right? So, I'm gonna pull up some questions. I want to make this interactive as usual. Um, Selma, Marlene must be so obsessed with ladies that look good or can get something done by looking good. Maybe because she wasn't that good looking herself. Okay, well, you said it. I mean, I try not to rag on her looks. I know she was very insecure about it, and she would kind of make up for it by like her smarts. She said, I mean, I don't think she ever got a degree or anything, but she was smart. She definitely was book smart, always reading, always praying, always preaching, always schooling everybody, right? And I always say she kinda looks a little bit like a female version of Keith Raniere. Shh, don't tell anybody. But, um, yeah, she had one crossed eye, and sometimes that would be a little freaky because she'd be praying for you and, like, she'd be standing, laying hands on you, like, leaning on you, and I would look up and, she would open her, like, crossed eye, and I couldn't tell where she was looking, and then she would open the other eye and look at um one of her eunuchs, I guess, right? One of her people that were there to serve her, that had cut off their own life to be there to do her bidding, right? So she would look at her and be like, I think you have a word for Marilyn. And the word was really bad. It was really condemning and it really messed me up bad. So, yeah, I think she wanted to just snuff out any life, especially women. She was very threatened by other women. She was threatened by anyone, men, anyone that had control. She was threatened by anything, like things like if you had a pet you loved, if you had a child you loved, if you had a relative you loved, if you had anything you loved, um, just anything like nature, a hobby. Like that's why I kind of always kept a secret that I really loved crocheting because I was just like doing it to make stuff, right? And to, wink, wink, right? But yeah, anything you love, she would want to snuff out. She was jealous. She was like, they say that God is a jealous God. Marlene was basically the God. She was basically God, and she was extremely jealous of anything that threatened her power and threatened her control. So yeah, so anyway, she was obsessed with Jezebel. She saw Jezebel in everyone, right? And, when I just got to the point where I didn't even wanna go to family parties or even go out because she would debrief you when you got back. It's like, "Oh, well, what did this person say? What did that," and then she'd be like, "Oh, they have a spirit of Jezebel. They have the whore of Babylon in their heart. They're carnal," which means fleshly as opposed to spirit. It was just nuts. It was just crazy, but I believed. I believed it, you know? Such a miserable woman. She was. She was just always just negative, and she had this high-pitched voice, and she'd just be like, "You're all going to hell in a handbasket." Yeah, handbasket, whatever that means. You're going to hell in a handbasket. The whole world is going to hell in a handbasket except for her and her few loyal followers because they had the truth. They're the only ones that had the truth. So, she was always harping on idolatry. Everything was an idol. Adultery, you have adultery in your heart. So it was just this constant, like Duncan calls it navel gazing, is like always looking within, always being paranoid, always just being so like just negative and having this foreboding feeling that you weren't going to make it because you were evil inside. That's why named this the enemy within, because get you looking within, then they've got you, you know? So not that, Helen. Hi, honey. Hi, Marilyn. It's stupid o'clock here in Australia. Very happy. I'm happy to see you too. Thank you for joining us, even though it's stupid o'clock. Kat, I actually admire Jezebel when I learned about her as a Axian. Okay, she seems like a badass. She was. I mean, she in the Bible, I mean, she was painted as like being evil because she did do some really evil shit. I mean, she saw a vineyard. Of course, she owned everything, the kingdom, and had everything at her fingertips, right? But there was a guy named Naboth who had this little vineyard, and she decided she wanted it, and she just had him killed and took it, right? And she was uh, a huge enemy of Elijah, the prophet, and she vowed to have him killed. And he rode up to the palace one day and he looked up, and this is the picture that Marlene always says, like, she painted her eyes and she looked down on Elijah, and she like basically vowed that it would be the end of him. And he looked up at the eunuchs, right? The men who had been castrated and that were there to serve her and in the rest of the palace, and said, "Throw her down." And they threw her down off the wall. She was trampled by horses and chariots and all that, and um, dogs ate her carcass. So that's really nice. but but yeah, I mean, I do agree with you, Kat, though. She was kind of a badass, and she just represents like a, I don't give a fuck, uh, strong woman. And the paint of the eyes and all that. That's just one of the things that I think about when I think about Jezebel is Marlene was just always saying, you know, that um you owe everything, like that Jezebel is evil, like it's in you, it's in everywhere. Like I said, she used it as a noun, a verb, an adverb, a hanging, dangling participle, or whatever. It was just jazz, day and night, right? And yeah, I just think it's funny that it's Isabel means dung. Uh, um, hey, Tip 45. Hey, sweetie. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Um, I'm not fitting in. A hand. Hand basket, right? You're going to hell in a hand basket. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Selma said, uh, making the Bible talk your talk. Right. You can take anything out of the Bible and just, like she just took it so literally that she like invented demons and scenarios and everything to represent it. Right. And yeah, it was just nuts. But I think that I've kind of look at the Bible now as like an allegory. There's nice stories, there's lessons. You definitely can like develop like a faith around it, a faith in God, which I have no problem with. I think that's great, as long as people don't push it on others or condemn others for not believing, because you believe what you believe, right? You just believe what you believe. Cat, the handbasket refers to the troops who had lost all their limbs in World War. I didn't know that. World War One. Well, that kind of makes sense now because Marlene was just so morbid, and I could see her using that as an analogy. Definitely. Um, my well, she was a badass, but it was probably worse because she was a woman. How much badass things did the men do? You are totally right. Bingo. That's a very good point because um yeah, you don't look back at the days of the battles of the Bible and all that, or even wars. There were a lot of wars going on, and be like, oh, those guys they're horrible, they're killing people. Well, war, unfortunately, is terrible like that. But yeah, take a woman and it's like, whoa, my God, like let's develop a whole you know, culture around it, slut shaming and accuse everybody of being a Jezebel. It's just insane. It's like I said, it's like the enemy within. She took something out of the Bible and wove it into this thing that she could insert in you and have you, spinning your wheels for years and years trying to cast this thing out of you. And, I mean, Jezebel was a concept, like I said, a noun, a verb, like adjective, everything, right? If you try to even assert anything, any of your own opinions, any of your preferences, you're jazzing it, right? And that I don't know. I just think it's funny. I keep coming back to it that Zabel means dung in Hebrew, and I got to put it up again, guys. I just think it's great. Yeah, I was always told I was going to end up on the dung heap, so here we are on the dung heap. Hello, Marlene, if you're watching. I'm going to go back to the comments. Hey, hey, our friend Doug. Good morning, Doug. Oh my God, it's early where you are. You're an early bird today. Yeah, so, I'll just, reiterate some things that I said as far as the history goes, and then on to kind of what that meant to me and my journey kind of out of this whole, Jezebel shaming, slut shaming, control freak, crazy bullshit, right? So, she Jezebel had come from a different country, a different kingdom. She was a Phoenician princess, and brought her little idols with her, Baal, they called it. And of course, that was anathema. That was wrong because the Israelites had the true God, right? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and she just had her gods. That's what she knew, right? But, um, although she did do some pretty nasty things, I mean, she had these eunuchs around her that cut their had were castrated, and that's not very nice, to do that. But, we were I felt like Marlene would do that around, she was accusing everyone else of having Jezebel in her heart, and anyone that, would bow down, quote, anyone that would try to agree with the person that was asserting their opinion was an Ahab, right? Which was the name of the king of Israel at the time, Jezebel's husband. So like if I said, "Hey, I don't like that," and Duncan agreed with me, he was being an Ahab because he wasn't agreeing with her, right? So she would see often just like a classic narcissist. She would point out the very things in other people that she was doing, right? So here she is, Jezebel is her biggest enemy, right? Because she sees it in everybody and everything, under every rock and tree and bush, right? There's Jezebel. But she accused of having Jezebel in everyone else's heart. I think so. I'm going full circle here, but Marlene was Jezebel. If you think of it, she pretty much castrated everyone around her, cut you off at the knees, um, would make you looking within, giving up everything, saying that you had idols in your heart if you even did, normal things, that you had adultery in your heart if you weren't going along with her program, the controlling, all that. The only thing she lacked was probably the glamorous painted eyes and all that stuff, And yeah, I mean, if you saw the pictures I showed Doug, I don't think I really look like a Jezebel, I was like crocheting smocks and she hated my blonde hair. I dyed it. I mean, I did everything to try to snuff out this supposed Jezebel within me, you know. So let me just say hi to a few more people. Oh, so we've got oh, Joel did some comments. Awesome. Maya, today Jezebel would have been referred to as a strong, independent woman. Right, right. I mean, she was a businesswoman. I mean, she looked good, but she also like got shit done, right? I mean, she was a princess and she just made, you know, she made a life for herself, right? Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, Marlene, she was threatened. She was jealous of anyone who had a spark of life, and she wanted to snuff it out. And that's why I think she targeted certain people, including me. You know, Joel. Comment part one. It's very timely for me to talk about the enemy within today. I have told you about the rescue I was involved in a few months ago. It was where we saved many animals from certain death. Yes, I do remember that, Joel. Get part two. Part two. I went to court yesterday on this case. I looked the devil in the face. They walk with us. This man brings out hate in me, not a good feeling, but it's proof that evil is everywhere. Right. Good for you, Joel, because anyone that could hurt and abuse animals are just they're evil. They're evil. Cover those ankles, Kelly. Marlene Weenie was jealous of you. Oh, thank you. Beautiful and kind. Right back at you, sweetheart. Yeah, you know what, Cal? Like, we're kicking ass and taking names, right? We're just like, hey, we're all Jezebels. Come be Jezebels together. We fucking love it. It if anyone hasn't seen this, I did a stream with Ash. I know I mentioned it at the very beginning, but I did a stream with Ash yesterday. Ashley from That's So Fucked Up podcast, and she has a new channel. Subscribe to Ash's YouTube channel at Harlots Jezebels, all one word. So we've been talking a lot about that, and we did a stream yesterday where she told her story of being in Alcoholics Anonymous, and it was great. If you haven't seen it, I know it's a little bit long, it's over 2 hours, but totally worth it because she really had such an incredible insight on it. And I won't reiterate it, but yeah, it's definitely worth watching because I'm sure that many of us either have gone to AA or know somebody, or even a loved one that has. So it's just very interesting, her experience and her insights, and the things that she read right from their website. Very eye-opening. So Tip 45, great stream. I absolutely loved it. Check it out, guys. Yes. Yes, yes. Um, yeah, so I don't know if I can share those. Let's see. Sorry, what guys? I was trying to do my homework, but I wanted to show you one other kind of funny thing. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll just show those pictures one more time. Share screen. Sorry, guys. I definitely need another monitor. Okay. So yeah, so that's the thumbnail from today. That's the picture I got it from. If you can see around Marlene, there's all these little well, of course she didn't do any of these, but there was a lot of ladies in the church that did needlepoint and embroidery. So there's one behind her. I think that one said, "He is risen." And there's, this was in the inn, we called it, the old Coach Inn that the building was in, Door of Hope. But it had all these antique wallpaper, all kinds of stuff. And there was that. See if I can find, oh, I can't find it. Sorry, I'll have to try that again. Anyways, I'll just tell you, I just, as a joke, I took a picture of my socks yesterday because I was all dressed up in my best Jezebel outfit, right? And I had socks that had kale, like they're purple socks with green like kale leaves on them. And I took a picture, and I had just a sliver of ankle showing. Just for you, Cal. I'll send you the picture. Cover those ankles. Hmm. To 45, Kelly, people that can't find beauty in themselves so often cast their ugliness on others. Yeah, I think you're right. She projected that on people and accused us of the very thing that she was guilty of. The control and just just I don't know. It's so hard to explain it because it was just literally years of oppression and indoctrination, and I believed it. I mean, she would start her weird, like they used to tick under their breath. That's the only way I can really describe it. But that speaking in tongues, instead of being like, oh, like that, they would like put hands on you and just be like, and then she would stop. And then I knew she was getting, quote, a word. And then she'd be like, Jezebel, I rebuke you in the name. Oh, I'm getting really, but it was like, Jezebel, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You have no power and authority and might, dominion, principality here. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but it was just a bunch of fucking gibberish, right? And I'd be like freaking out, guys. I'd be like, oh my God, my God. And I feel like I was disassociating because I couldn't understand what the hell was happening, and then I would be numb. And then when it was over, I think I was so just relieved that it was over that I'm like, oh God, like, thank God Jezebel's gone out of my heart or whatever. But she would come back because Marlene would say that she's back, right? Oh, um, there you 2:45, all her crap that she doesn't have to take any responsibility. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shivers. Yeah, I'm getting to the point where, like, honestly, I wrote down 2 references, 1 Kings 19 from the Old Testament, and then Revelations 2, which is New Testament. So, I'll say it again, anyone that would say, "Oh, well, that's the Old Testament Jezebel." No, she's in the New Testament too, and they call her the whore of Babylon. And um, yeah, I mean, I sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit, but oh yeah, no, I know what I was gonna say. I really get triggered sometimes from reading. Like, I don't really like to read whole tracks of the Bible. It's funny, whole track means like your past lives, but I mean like whole tracks of the Bible, literally like chapters and chapters, because it just brings back memories. And so I just kind of dabble. I'll just instead of, I don't even know if I even have a Bible anymore, but I'll just kind of dabble, and I'll just like kind of pop up little scriptures from Google or whatever, and just kind of glean little pieces of it, because I'm getting to the point where now I can talk a little bit more about the doctrine and the scriptures without it like sending the shivers, like Kat said, up your spine, you know. So here we go, or down your spine, right? Man, I get scary movie vibes. Yeah, that sound. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was Doug that said reminds me of aliens. Yeah, totally. It was so bizarre. And it's just insane how things like that can be normalized because of classic, right? Isolation by a charismatic leader. And you just get in this bubble, and everyone's agreeing, and it's the echo chamber. And then whenever you try to be like, "Mm, this doesn't seem right," it's like, if you just classic whistleblower thing, right? Like, when you say point out that there's a problem, suddenly you become the problem. And that just seems to be the story of my life. Like, I'm just always putting myself in these positions where I'm like, um, guys, this doesn't seem right. And it's like, when all of a sudden I'm the shit stirrer and all that. And I'm just like, I hate it though. I don't want to be put in that position. And I have some friends that I think feel the same way too about themselves. It's funny. Oh, hey, Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer. I need to email you, and let me know. Is it ego next door at Gmail? I know I know you can't put up a link, but yeah. Well, you know what? If you don't mind, Jennifer, if you could email me, I have my email. Well, actually, it's just coffeecultsandcrafts at gmail.com. Sorry, guys. Housekeeping. Anybody can email me at coffeecultsandcrafts at gmail.com. That'd be great. So, Joel, I have had experience in being around a narcissist when they age. Their world of control shrinks and they lose more and more. They can't believe it and act worse to those close to them. Stay away. Oh yeah. You don't have to tell me twice, Joel. I'll stay away. What's interesting, and I don't remember what it was called or the reference. I'll have to try to look it up. But when I was training, I was before I got into the retail management, um, I was home health aide for a little while, and then I went back to it after I left. the 3 JCPenney's that I worked as floor manager, HR, and all that. And there was this training thing that we took online, and it was really interesting working with the elderly because they really taught you a lot about not only care of the elderly and different types of things that you would have to do to take care of them and look for certain diseases and also things like dementia and all that, but also just understanding the stage of life that the elderly were in. And there's this four phases of life, and I'm gonna mess it up, but basically what it was like, there's four stages of life. There's when you're young and you're like a sponge. You're learning everything and you're getting you're growing and all that. And then the second stage of quarter of your life, say from uh 20 to 40, is when you're getting established, like you're getting a career. You decide, you make decisions whether you're going to do family, have a family. You're just basically like about establishing your life. And then around, middle age or so, um, like, 40, 50, 60, you start to think about um, your contribution to the world, right? That's when a lot of people start doing charity work. They start thinking about retirement. They start thinking about the next generation if they leave, have kids. Um, there's that whole time when, like in my 40s especially, was when you're trying to kind of launch, the kids out of the nest, right? And my last two were just launched last year, so I was actually 51 when that happened. But you're you're starting to kind of live for the next generation as well as yourself, and making contributions. You start to I at least grew into like that whole thing of like, if I only knew then what I know now, right? So you're trying to impart wisdom to the next generation, sitting on the porch with your kids. Like we do that all the time. My kids will come and we sit out on the porch and just talk about stuff. And I'm like, hey, here's a cup of coffee, or if it's night, we'll have a beer. And the kids, joke about like porch drinking with my mom, and just kind of tell me what's up, guys, what's going on, And then later in life, the your later years can be scary, but it also can be beautiful time as well. Even though it's closing the chapter, life and death, like death is part of life, right? But sometimes it can be really sad. And I think for a narcissist, like Joel is saying, it can be terrible. It can be terrifying because the later years of your life is when you start to look back on your life and your legacy, right? And if you've done a lot of bad things to people, whether you can see it or not, whether you can admit it or not, I think it does affect you. And looking back on your legacy, I've known people that, of course, no one's perfect, but like Duncan's father, his name was Clark, and he wasn't particularly religious. He was always a Methodist. He went, mostly for because he told me he wasn't sure how he believed in the God, in God, like Jesus. Like, wasn't sure how, like, if he really believed in like human sacrifice stuff. But he always was a Methodist because it was a social thing and it was a way for him to contribute to. And he loved the songs. He was always in choir, and he was always very involved in his community. And he was just one of those people that didn't say much, but those type of people where they're they're like a deep waters, right? Like he didn't say much. His wife was like, kind of like me, like Duncan's are very, quiet unless he really has something to say. And then you can't shut him up. Bless his heart. But he looked back on his life and he was like, yeah, he didn't have a ton of regrets. He didn't have, he didn't do any harm that like meant to do any harm. He was just such a wonderful person. And he was at peace. Um, he told Duncan the day before he passed away that he was ready to go home. And he said, "I'm taking my toys with me." And sorry, oh, Jesus, I went through this whole stream without crying. And Duncan said, "What is that? What do you mean, Dad? What were your toys?" And he said, "I'm taking my memories of all my oh, sorry, he was a great guy. I loved him. Of all my loved ones, right? So, um, I want to be like Clark, right? And not Marlene. Um, to hopefully have done some good in this world, you know, where you can take your toys and go home, wherever that is, right? So, yeah, that always stuck with me when I learned that is that when you close that chapter in your life and it's over, um, what are you going to think about when you look back, right? Um, if you're a narcissist that's always out for yourself, those are the type of people. Unfortunately, I saw some people that were aging and they they didn't admit that they had regrets, but you could just see the inner turmoil. You could just see that they had regrets, and it's just a terrible thing to watch. And one thing in that I gotta find the what part of that curriculum. I'm sure it's online somewhere where they got that study from, in that concept of the four stages of life. But they said that usually one of two things can happen. I'm sure it can be a pendulum swing as well, but some people do feel at peace, and they look on their legacy as it's good. I had a good life. I'm at peace. I don't have regrets, or a sense of despondency, and just people that kind of go out with a fight because they do have so many regrets, whether they admit it or not. And it's a sad thing to witness. And I know some elderly people that are actually fairly close to me that have a lot of regrets, and either they're just angry, just damn angry at the world still, or they just kind of check out because they can't face it. So sorry, I went on that whole long thing. I wasn't expecting to talk about that, but Joel, yeah, you drew it out of me. Oh, it's a good idea for all of us to be like Clark. Yes, yes. And be like Joel. And Joel, you're not old, but I'm just saying, let's be like Joel too. He's a good guy. Yeah, Joel McCoy, 100%. Jennifer says, narcs aging are scary as fuck. Yes. Yeah. Oh, good. Can't wait to chat with you too, honey. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, that was actually a really, really good thing to bring up, Joel, because that kind of slides into what I was talking about as far as uh, where 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 has this gotten her? You know what I mean? She's sitting there with just a couple of people now, still doing her bidding, but not that many. Like she lost all of the prophecies that she said would come true, right? Did haven't. And here she's 85 years old. And maybe if she had done like what Jesus said to do, feed the poor, be kind, open your doors to people without exacting their whole life and treating them like dirt, right? And maybe she would have a legacy, but nope, nope. It's a beautiful message. Thank you. Thanks, John and Kat. I don't know, it just came out of me. Thank Joel. He's just really, yeah. Joel's kind of like Doug. Like Doug will pull things out of me and I'm like, where did that come from? He'll just ask me a question. I'll be like, "Oh my god, yeah, okay. I guess I did have something in there that needed to come out." So, mm, yeah. Tip 45. I love those moments. Forever gifts. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, I love how he put it. Is that take his toys and go home, wherever that is. I don't think any of us know 100%, but he was at peace. He was at peace with it. So, yeah, I was like. I just really admired him in life and in death. I really did. Joel, I'm old, 69, and I think about the past a lot. Yeah, you're not old. Um, yeah, 70 is the new 50, I think. Although I feel 85 most days when I wake up, like, oh, I have to move now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so um great to talk to you guys today. I'm not going to make this long because I've got a lot of things to do. And, it's getting cold in here. I gotta put the heater on because this part of the house is kind of separate from the rest of it. That's why you don't hear the dogs unless they're outside. So yeah, great to hang out with you guys, and, I've got a couple other, morning musings that I've been thinking about, and, I found some pictures and some articles of about my I don't wanna say biological or real my mom, Rose, let's just say my mom, Rose, and, you know, as most of you know, she passed away when I was 5, but, I've got a couple pictures of her, very rare that I have anything, from before the fire, but, yeah, and some articles of some things that she did, before like, right before I was born, a couple years before I was born, and, I wanna share those with you and talk about that, so, um I can't even think of what day it is. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do one tomorrow, because I have some things to do, but if not, definitely Friday, and I will be seeing you guys soon and talking to you soon. Oh, here we go. 10:45. Thanks, for help my brain get moving. Well, I like to greet you in the morning or afternoon if you're in the UK or wherever. Um, Sophia, she's your mom, however long she was in your life. Thank you. Thank you, Sophia. Um, yeah, I do see that the nature versus nurture, that a lot of the things that I did, that I do, are probably from her, I'll give you a little well, I don't have the picture up yet, but a little sneak peek is that um, I found out, a few years ago, like well after I learned how to crochet. I think it was maybe even while I was in the cult, someone sent me a picture and I have it of me and my mom. I was about probably 1.5 there, and we were wearing crocheted ponchos that she had made. So she crocheted. My mom, Rose, crocheted. And even though I learned to crochet from my adopted mom, she had 2 daughters. My adopted mom has 2 biological daughters, and, neither of them, one of them knows how to crochet, but doesn't really crochet, and the other one never learned, and I took to it, and now I can't help but think maybe I took to it because my mom, my birth mom, crocheted, so yeah, and she did a lot of charity work too that I didn't know about, so yeah, so, alright, everybody, I will talk to you soon. Bye, have a great day.